the Warriors, you were at that game last night, Warriors-Lakers, as you mentioned, probably a 9-10 play-in preview, unless the Warriors can move up to 8. The Warriors were shooting threes, shocker, as though they were free throws. 26 made threes, 63.4%. So statistically, that makes it the best three-point shooting night we've ever seen in terms of that many makes at that level of efficiency. Warriors have been playing fantastic basketball. Clay found his way. They're talking about, and they've been talking about, going on a Heat-like run from the play-in through the playoffs. Do you see that for this Warriors team that just won't die, as much as Michael Holly's tried to put them out the pasture? They just won't die.
No, they won't. Look, the Warriors, much more than the Lakers, look like they figured out who they really are now, right? Like, it took forever for them to really integrate, hey, we got to really lean into Kuminga and Podzinski and the young guys. And we've got to mess with we're not going to be able to start the same 5 guys. Looney isn't going to play that much. We've got to took a while for Steve Kerr to come around to it, for their star players, frankly, to come around to it. They're there now, and they're playing well. And look, last night's a bit of an aberration. When Draymond Green is 5 for 5 from 3 in the first half, you're like, you're doomed. Right? It's just, if he's hitting and Klay Thompson are hitting, that team's always been unbeatable. Both of them were drilling last night. That's not going to happen consistently. The Lakers are probably the worst team in the league or most aggressive team in the league at laying off Draymond. They didn't adjust, and that's kind of been a long knock on Darvin Ham. But I think in a playoff series, LeBron would just take it on himself and say, hey, we got to adjust. That said, the Warriors are in a groove, know who they are playing at this high level, and the Lakers continue to not, man. I mean, do you watch them and think, do you watch the Lakers and think, man, that team's coming together now?
What I mean, not without AD.
Well, without Anthony, I was going to say.
Yeah, I mean,
no Anthony Davis, no.
They were playing some damn good basketball recently, but yeah, Anthony Davis just makes all the difference in the world.
Their defense falls apart without him.
Yeah.
You know what we haven't? You know what we haven't done this year, Mike and Kurt. You know we haven't had a really passionate. This guy should be MVP. No, this is the MVP. The MVP conversation is pretty muted. It's pretty, low
I don't know
key.
if there is one. Is there a conversation?
Or you tell us, Kurt. Is there a conversation about MVP? Is there a conversation about the first team All NBA team?
There's a conversation about who gets 5th on the All NBA team, first team, right? Is it Kawhi or Jason? It'll probably be Jason Tatum, but is it Kawhi or Tatum or Durant? Because the top 4 are kind of a lock. It's Jokic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Jokic is probably going to win MVP. I'll tell you right now, he's on top of my ballot. But I spent a lot of time, like, to me, he and Shai are an almost dead heat, and you're I don't quite know how to split them totally. It's a bit subjective. Then you've got Doncic and Giannis will finish. Doncic will finish 3rd, probably Giannis 4th now. But those top 4 are locks. It's that 5th spot is the only question on All NBA. I don't think it's been nearly as toxic, by the way. Normally, we've had really intense MVP discussions. That has not been the case this year. It hasn't been.
Yeah, no, it feels like something's kind of missing, but it's, as Embiid said, it's a little refreshing too.
It's funny because
without the toxicity.
It hasn't been intense, but for me, it was so hard to parse them apart. But you're not having the intensity we did with Jokic and Embiid last year.
No.
Although part of that may simply be that Jokic won, so some of the criticism against him pulls back.
Yeah, I would say that. When it comes to Luka, though, MVP or not, I mean, like, it's about what he does in the postseason, right? Like, how dangerous are the Dallas Mavericks, man? Like, so it looks like we're probably going to get Mavs Clippers for what, the 3rd time in 5 years? That seems to be the way it's lining up. Obviously a lot to be settled, but like, how dangerous is Dallas?
I think they're the 2nd best team in the West right now, the way they're playing. I don't totally believe in the young teams in Minnesota and Oklahoma City yet. I do believe in Dallas. First off, Luka's Luka. He's been proven to be big in big moments.
Yeah.
But he and Kyrie have blended beautifully. Kyrie has just found a level of comfort with this team. And the other key thing, especially since they made the trade deadline moves to get Garford and pair him, just swap him in with Lively, they've been one of the best defensive teams in the league, top 10 defensive team in the league, and top 5, I believe, since the All-Star break. If they're getting stops consistently and they're protecting the rim, and then you got to deal with Luka and Kyrie's, I don't think you remember this, guys. He's hit some big playoff shots. He's had his postseason moments, man.
A couple.
I think that they are the most threatening team to Denver, and that's a second-round series because, like you said, assuming they beat the Clippers, then they'd come out of the 4-5 and get Denver in the second round. But I think they're the biggest threat because right now they're just playing better basketball.
You said you're not worried about the young guy, the young team. So Minnesota about to get Cat back. They got Denver tonight. Big game tonight with that number 1 seed on the line. Minnesota gets the 1 seed. With Cat back, Rudy Gobert, maybe Defensive Player of the Year with apologies to Wemby, again, would be the 4th time, I believe. Does the 1 seed change how you would look at Minnesota? Does it matter? Why don't you buy into Minnesota? If I hadn't matter Oklahoma City, these have been among the best teams all season.
Yeah.
Why are you so, it's not to put words in your mouth, but you're kind of dismissive of the young guns in the Western Conference? Why? They haven't been through it enough yet? What is it that you don't see in them?
It's just that. Oklahoma City, I think physically you can push them around a little bit. They're both young and they need a little more bulk. Minnesota's got the bulk. They've got the size. The defense travels. I just think they've got a win for you it's Anthony Edwards learning how to do this. It's the first time through for this group together, and it's not all veterans. I think, though, what makes them dangerous is Anthony Edwards has had some playoff moments, but more than that, having Rudy Gobert, who has been through this in Utah, which didn't go as far as you want, but has been there, and more importantly, Mike Conley, having a steady veteran point guard, I think makes them the more dangerous of these two teams. They've got the defense will travel. They've got a point guard who will settle them down. I think that makes them a bigger threat, but I still think they're about a year away, which is only concerning in the fact that, Towns really hasn't been through this either. It's really just concerning that their ownership situation and financial cliff that's coming. I don't know how long they can sustain this. Their window's much shorter than OKC.
So that word settled, and I'll end on that. There is so much that is unsettled right now in terms of seeding when it comes to the NBA playoff picture. I'll ask you this, and take it wherever you want to go. What are you crystal clear about? What are you sure about when it comes to the NBA playoffs?
Right now, looking at the way everybody's stumbling around in the East, Boston is going to come out of the East. And they've had the best record, they've cruised in. But in the West, I can come up with, if the Clippers get this together, and we talked about Dallas, and I don't buy Milwaukee the way they've stumbled in, and I do believe in Boston. So I'm crystal clear that Boston is going to make a run and be the best team in the East. I'm beyond that. I think what's fun about these playoffs is I really don't know. Is Milwaukee going to kind of figure it out and actually become a threat? How about the Knicks? Even without Julius Randle, suddenly can they, in this East, can they make a run? I'm kind of out on Cleveland now. I'm not sure. I was in on them earlier and I'm out. And out West, again, I think that there's tiers maybe, but it's Denver and everybody else. But the Clippers look like they could be a threat if they're healthy.
Everybody else is interesting, yeah.
Everybody else is interesting. It's really kind of together. And is Philadelphia the second best team in the East, guys?
Maybe.
When whole? Maybe, yeah.
Maybe they are.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But Kurt and Mike, since Boston's coming out of the East, NBA Finals, I'll get the guest room ready for both of y'all. We can do the show. We can do the show. Let's do the show from here. We can do the show from Boston.
With the Pugs, I know one thing. The play-in. It's about the Western Conference. Give me a Steph, LeBron, Kevin Durant play-in. Shout out to the person who came up with the play-in a few years back. I remember being the play-in. Just go to the playoffs. Nah, Nice work. Nice work out of you, Kurt Helin. Appreciate it. Always a good day when you join us. Show him the shirt on the way out, big dog. Like, you know, we take pride in our attire
got a
around here.
triple-double, baby.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
You did. You messed around. You got one.
Usually people ask me about my plug. I'm going to need your plug on that one. Appreciate you, brother.
Take care, man.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.